If you want to stay up to date with all current hip-hop events and releases, make sure to subscribe and become part of this community. Oh, and also, go cop that fresh merch and listen to my new album in the description. Where is Rae Sremmurd going with this? Now, I dropped a video on, the two of them, Swae Lee, Slim Jimmy, a couple of days ago, going over SREMM4LIFE 4 or SREMM4LIFE, which they're now calling it, which they announced subliminally through personal tweets the two of them composed, and then also on the official Rae Sremmurd account, and now it's also everywhere on their social media. Is this this burning number 4, which is supposed to represent the 4th installment in the SREMM4LIFE series? And I love the SREMM4LIFE series. The first one, classic. The second one I thought was weaker in a sense, but I did like a couple of tracks on there as well. Also commercially did really well. And the third one, of course, being a compilation of 3 albums, so SREMM4LIFE 4, Swaycation, and then also some Jimmy's record. I thought every single one of the albums had some personality to it, and especially I loved Swaycation. So I have a personal connection to each one of these records. So when they announced that SREMM4LIFE 4 was coming out, or SREMM4LIFE, whatever you want to call it, I was excited. I was like, yo, okay, we're getting some summer vibes again, just in time for the summer. It's the beginning of June, so it's right around that time when Swae Lee comes through and just drops a song in the summer, which he's been doing for the past 10 years for me. Not 10 years, but like 5, 6, 7 years. So I was really excited about that. And as I went over the announcement, we didn't know any more information on this, but since then we've gotten a single. We've gotten this single called Denial, and they also dropped a video for it, and it's marketed as this new single from SREMM4LIFE 4. And also on the track in the outro, Swae Lee is referencing SREMM4LIFE 4, so it's not like this is some random single, but this is the first single that is supposed to be on SREMM4LIFE 4. And so, of course, we got some expectations for this. But so far, it's not doing too well. It didn't pass 1 million streams on YouTube or 1 million views on the video in its first, 2 days. It dropped on a Wednesday, which is very unconventional. But I guess they wanted to, kind of switch things up. So, it's not doing that good so far. But the song itself, I love it. I think the song itself is exactly what we want from a SREMM4LIFE record, or just a Rae Sremmurd record in general, because it brings out the best of both of them. We have Swae Lee on the hook doing, a crazy what he's always doing, and then Slim Jimmy coming in a little bit, and on the second verse though, and just bringing in some bars. And of course Swae Lee overshadows Slim Jimmy. That's how it's always been. It's a fact that Rae Sremmurd's success has been hugely carried by Swae Lee. Of course, he's also been the one that's just embarked on a solo career that's been successful. Slim Jimmy still has some problems starting that off, and just hasn't put out that much and put in that much work as Swae Lee has on its solo career. But that's how it's always been. And Slim Jimmy's always a dude that if you're really into it, there's the verses from him that can make a song so much better. But just for the general public and the way that they're perceived in the mainstream, it's always Swae Lee on the hooks that does the crazy part. So that's how it's always been. It's the same again on this song. So this song is a manifestation of what you would want a Rae Sremmurd record to be like. You can't complain if you like their old stuff. You're gonna like this. And if you haven't listened yet, make sure you listen to this track. But this track, of course, I started asking myself where they're going with this, because as I said, it's not doing too well commercially. Also on Spotify, I think it also hasn't surpassed 1 million streams so far. Matter of fact, I just checked and it says 91,000 streams. I don't think that number is accurate because, dropped on a Wednesday. Maybe it takes some more time to refresh, but if that is actually true and that's the streams that it got on the first day, because usually they're 1 day delayed, then that's really not looking too good. And I also noticed this on my last video that I made on them, and this is not me complaining that my video didn't do well, because if, I cared about how, my video was perceived, I wouldn't be making another video about Rae Sremmurd. But just from the general reception of people and the interest that people showed in this, and the click-through rate and all of this, I can see that Rae Sremmurd is not an artist, there too, that people are that interested anymore in. They were the crazy young dudes coming out like 2015, songs like No Type, songs like, what else we got, This Could Be Us, songs like Come Get Her, that were just, you know, anthems of a summer and party anthems that everybody knew and everybody went crazy to. And over the past couple of years, they've just kind of faded. And I think it has a lot to do with them not consistently dropping anymore, and this is a curse that this new generation, of course, has brought onto us, because you need to be dropping constantly to stay relevant. You know, that is like how the game works nowadays. Sway Lee kind of bridged the gap by having, you know, appearances on songs like Sunflower, for example, or, you know, that Ellie Goulding track, whatever he got on. Sway Lee was always a safe bet. He's also, you know, released singles, you know, just on a solo career. I remember Reality Check, for example, that was a huge leak and that then also did okay when it dropped. But in terms of just the duo of the two of them, really not a lot has happened ever since 2018 when SREMM4LIFE 3 dropped. And that album was also, I mean, it had Power Glide on it, for example, or Guatemala did pretty well. Personally, I love, you know, Swaycation. That's like my favorite one on there. So it's not like they didn't put out quality music, but for some reason also on that album, it didn't get the same like reception that the first two got. There was always a couple of tracks on the first two SREMM4LIFEs that just went huge. They were like these party tracks, but you know, they haven't been able to recreate that. And when I look at this new single Denial in that way, you know, if I pretended that this was like hugely successful, then I would also be able to somehow see like, oh, okay, I get it. It's like a fun, nice, you know, track that it doesn't go too hard. It's not too mellow. It's right in between that sweet spot that people are going to be playing for the summer. They could be played in like some restaurant, anything like that. That's just a, you know, vibe you can play while driving and, you know, in like the sunset and all that, the usual type of stuff that I connect with Rae Sremmurd. And if this was hugely successful, I would be like, okay, I get it. But, you know, looking at it from this perspective, it's like, okay, what went wrong? Do people just not like this anymore? Or is it somehow their, you know, change in what they've changed in their music ever since then, or them just not dropping consistently? And I think that is actually the option. You know, them not dropping consistently, they've, you know, followed up 2015 SREMM4LIFE with the second SREMM4LIFE a year after, and then it was a 2-year gap until 2018 when SREMM3 dropped. And I think even in that meantime, Sway Lee went on to do a couple of big collaborations, so they were never really irrelevant. And just this new single and the way it's perceived, also the way that I see from my videos that Rae Sremmurd is perceived, it just seems like they're really not that relevant anymore. And it hurts to see that, because I love their music and I think they contribute greatly to like this new melodic, especially Sway Lee, of course, melodic wave of hip-hop. But I mean, in the end, I guess Rae Sremmurd just is not relevant anymore. Anyway, let me know what you think about this. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? If so, why? What do you think of this new track, Denial? I personally love it. I've been listening to this in the car for the past 2 days, and it just sounds great. You know, both of them did a great job on there in their own lanes. So if this is any hint as to what SREMM4LIFE 4 is going to be like, I'm all here for it. But just your general thoughts on this, and if you think they fell off and all of that, please let me know in the comments down below. If you watched this video to the end and liked it, and you want to stay up to date with all current hip-hop events and releases, make sure to subscribe, turn on notifications, hit that like button, and go follow my social media, and most importantly, join my Discord in the description. Until the next one, you'll have an incredible day, and you'll take care.